So, you've started making potions in Mortal Online 2. You threw some Sea-Dew and Blood Ore into a potion, but what did you actually achieve? What did each ingredient do? How do you maximize your end result? How do you organize the data you found on a spreadsheet? How do you understand the data you've just collected? We're going to answer all those questions and maybe a few more today, so buckle up, Buttercup. It's going to be a bumpy ride. To start, what is alchemy? Alchemy is the base skill required for potion making. Among its child skills are skills like potion making, taste identification, alchemical dissolvents, alchemical contraptions, and alchemical mineralogy. Today we're going to be focusing on potion making and taste identification, as well as advanced potion making, which is the child skill of, you guessed it, potion making. The other child skills of alchemy aren't necessary in all cases, but I'll get into that in another video. Now we're going to ask ourselves, do I like spreadsheets and nerd shit? If you answered yes, alchemy is definitely for you. If you answered no, you should continue watching and see if you change your mind. Alchemy has a lot to do with how different ingredients interact with each other, and if you don't already have some experience with Google Sheets, Excel, or another spreadsheet program, I'd highly recommend watching a quick tutorial on whichever spreadsheet program you have access to or prefer. Personally, I use Google Sheets, and if you want a tutorial on how to use that for these purposes, leave a comment below and let me know. With all that out of the way, let's get started. The first base you'll want to use is Sea-Dew. Sea-Dew can be found along the coast near the city of Meduli on the west side of the map. The easiest way to get a lot of this is just to follow the coast and pick up as much as you can find. And then pick as much up as you can on the way back, as its respawning times are pretty quick. You can also buy some off the broker if you have the gold to spare, so please feel free to further the economy. Once you've gathered a sizable amount of Sea-Dew, you can either leave them as is, or process them further into Sea-Dew leaves at an herbologium. When testing, I prefer to leave them just as regular Sea-Dew, as the results of testing will transfer over from the base Sea-Dew all the way to salvia oil, but we won't get into the science behind the reason for that in this video. The next step is to get a baseline for what you're working with. So just slap 11 of whichever you decide to use, either Sea-Dew or Sea-Dew leaves, into the potion crafting table, and wham bam thank you ma'am, you should have a potion with 1 potion unit of healing juice in it. Looking at what we've just done a little further, you'll see that the weight of the vial you placed the base ingredient in has changed after we filled it. It should be 0.01 kilograms heavier than it was before you placed the ingredients into it. Every 0.01 kilograms is representative of 1 potion unit, or PU for short, meaning that a small vial with 10 PUs should weigh about 0.2 kilograms, 0.1 for the weight of the vial, and 0.1 for the 10 PUs residing inside the vial. Another thing you'll see is that you'll have a direct healing value, or DH, associated with your potion that is either 1.8 for Sea-Dew or 2.4 for Sea-Dew leaves. So now that we have a baseline for testing, we're going to look at figuring out how to classify items based on whether or not they add volume or weight to our potion. The easiest way to do this is take 10 units of a known base, like Sea-Dew or water for instance, and then 1 unit of whatever item you want to test and throw them into a potion table. If it makes a potion, well, you've got yourself a volumizer, meaning it adds volume to the potion. If it spits your ingredients out like a llama not wanting to eat its dinner, then you've got yourself a multiplier. Not every volumizer will increase your DH value, and not every multiplier will either. They're just terms for us to categorize the items based on what they do to our potions. Well, that's a lot of information so far, and we haven't even made out potions any better than we began with. So let's do that next. To start, we're going to take an item like Blood Ore for instance and throw 1 unit into the potion table with 11 units of our base, either Sea-Dew or Sea-Dew leaves, and see what happens to the base value. Lo and behold, it will increase, because Blood Ore is a direct healing multiplier. We can repeat this process with any multipliers we find to determine whether or not they increase the direct healing value. We can also repeat the process with volumizers, but with a slight alteration. We're going to take away 1 unit of our base, as volumizers will add to our volume, hence the term volumizer. So it should be 1 unit of volumizer and 10 units of base. An example of a commonly used volumizer is Muse Fruit. Now that we've discovered some items that increase our direct healing value, we're going to find out how much of each item we're supposed to put into a potion to achieve the maximum result that we're after. The peak of each item, if you will. To do this, we need to use 100 units of our base to get 10 potion units, and a more accurate measurement of the peak. The more volume in a potion, the more accurate we can make our measurements. Now remember me mentioning spreadsheets at the beginning? This is where those come in. I'll show you an example spreadsheet that's available on my Alchemy Discord to all apprentice alchemists here. Now as you can see, I've plotted this using Sea-Doo leaves, but if you'd rather use regular Sea-Doo, the same principles still apply, and the same amount will be used. Your spreadsheets will just look a little different value-wise. There are plenty more items that increase DH than these. These are just some examples to give you a nice basis to work with. Please note that these values are subject to change the more items you add to the potion, as a bigger potion actually requires less items, but the less items you add make a smaller potion, thusly requiring more items. But I'll leave the more complicated math for another time. Once you've gotten all the peaks for each item, slap them together in any order with the strongest base you can find, and bamba jamba mamba samba ramba, you've got yourself a nice big health potion. This will apply for every base that gives direct healing, and the same principles should apply for every stat you can get from a potion. So this also applies to direct poison, poison over time, healing length, and poison length. Each stat has its own bases and multipliers, and sometimes there are neutralizers for stats like cotton that will neutralize several different stats. So, in conclusion, alchemy is a beautifully complicated beast. If you're willing to put in the work, you'll be greatly rewarded. If you just want to mooch off others' research, you can eat a big fat log of hog. I really don't care. If you would like more instruction, please leave a comment below and let me know what I should make a video about next. If you want to join a community of alchemists, please look in the description for a link to my Discord, where I do one-on-one lessons with those that ask, and where alchemists can put their heads together to discuss prices, ingredients, and help each other understand alchemy better. Thank you for watching.